Hello, it's Denise from Minty Green Mama, and so today it's a little late for doing a video, but I just got done doing book club over in the Facebook group. We're doing Mists of Avalon, so I got a lot of good vibes going, and I just wanted to do a video that I've been kind of putting off a little bit, which is my my fall decks. And this is one of the videos that I just love watching when people explain what decks they're going to be using in the fall, because fall is my favorite season, and it's just interesting to see what choices people make. And so I really wanted to do a video about my fall decks. I know I have kind of like a funny shadow on my face, but I'm going to keep on going. So I've been waiting for a deck to get in, and it's still not here yet, and that's one reason I've been putting it off. And another reason is I've been having a hard time making up my mind about what decks I wanted to use. So I just kind of going to go with it, and I know that things change, like certain decks, will call out to me some days where I might have wanted to spend more time with a different deck, but I just kind of go with the flow. So for right now, these are decks that I'm going to be working with for the rest of the fall, and that I have been working with this fall, and that I will continue to work with. So one deck that I kind of have sitting out is the Legend, the Arthurian Tarot, by Anna Marie Ferguson, I believe is her name. I don't have the book sitting here with me, but this is a gorgeous deck. For a long time, this is a very old deck. For a long time, I didn't connect with this artwork. I found it really interesting. Oh, weird. Only one card is upside down. Oh, and it's the moon, and it's a new moon tonight. That's interesting. So, yeah, the artwork. It's been a real surprise. I think that something has changed. I've been connecting with a lot of decks recently that I never used to connect with. I've just been really connecting with certain decks that had artwork that I couldn't click with before. Some of this, like the faces, and some of them seem kind of faded and washed out, and I didn't choose to work with it before, but now maybe it's because I'm getting really into the Arthurian legends and Avalon, but a lot of these images really speak to me now, and I really enjoy the companion book that came in the box kit. So like this, and the names are I still have to figure out how to pronounce all the names. So but luckily, I do like about this that it has like the traditional tarot title, like this is King of Shields. That has shields for the suit, but I do like, and then it also has I'm gonna say Uther, because I'm gonna guess that's how that's pronounced. That's how I've been pronouncing it in book club. I don't know if that's right, but that is a character that like I can kind of relate to, because from reading the companion book and then reading some of the Arthurian stories and legends. So that's just something, and I adore the color of the backs. I love these. So this is one that I'm going to be working with for a while, and really getting to know a little bit better. And then of course I'm going to be working with Tarot of the Haunted House, because that is just perfect for this time of year, because it's still October, so plenty of time. I love the backs. I mentioned this in another video that I did. I don't know, they shuffle so well. The pictures are interesting. Not much information in the booklet, but a lot to go on with your intuition, and it also kind of follows the meanings behind the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I really like this deck, and it's like creepy and kind of it's got that October Halloween vibe to it. So I'm loving this deck right now for Halloween especially. So I have so many decks. Like, I always overestimate the time that I have for working with the different, all the decks that I want to work with. So I probably won't be able to work with all of these, but this one is pretty new to me personally. I just purchased this, and it's the beautiful Rebellion Tarot by Robin Cole. Oh, I should mention the Haunted House Tarot is by Sasha Graham, and the artwork is by Mirko Pierre Federici, which might be also pronounced wrong. I make no guarantees. But yes, the beautiful Rebellion Tarot by Robin L. Cole. And I just, the backs are, you know, are kind of nice, and I just really adore the artwork that she's chosen to, I'm assuming Robin is a girl, to put on the cards. I do like, I do like just looking at the images, and I've been more enjoying this just to kind of look at the nice artwork rather than to do readings with right now. But I really love that Emperor. I mean, isn't that amazing? Yeah, that's a good one. Hierophant. So I really like this deck. And it came with this, it came in a beautiful box, but it also came with this gorgeous little bag, which I really appreciate. Let's see if she says. And there's an expanded guidebook too, I think, online. Let's see. Yeah, on her website. So I'm going to definitely look into that, because I think that would help me appreciate and use this deck even more for readings. So, and then this is an interesting one. The Shining Tribe Tarot. It's another one that I thought for sure, you know, I wasn't going to connect with the artwork, but because it is Rachel Pollack, I got it anyway because I adore her writing. And I have surprisingly been really drawn to this very like tribal inspired artwork. And I really also, I mean, it comes with a really big guidebook, which I love because I feel like I just get so much more background, you know, information, obviously, but also, you know, seeing the thought processes behind the different cards and what they mean. I really like that. This one I thought is an interesting Emperor. As much, ooh, I just threw that on the floor. Maybe that's a sign. I need some more structure to my life. I've been attracted to Emperor cards. But as much as I love the Emperor card from the Beautiful Rebellion Tarot, this one is, of all the cards in the deck, is the one that I think I dislike. I still haven't clicked with this image. It's just very, I don't know, like the head on that guy, and it's like, I think the eyes look like red, you know, and I don't know. Something about that one is not calling to me. Of course, I think that sometimes when certain things irk you, that's what you need to focus on. And interestingly, that I've been drawn to the Emperor cards in the last couple decks. I shall have to reflect upon that. But yeah, so this deck, for the longest time, I you know, I didn't even use it because I did not feel like I really clicked with the artwork. I think it's, you know, it might be one of those things where you either like it or you don't like it, but oddly enough, I've been really drawn to using certain decks that I thought, you know, were, I was just never going to click with. So it's been an interesting ride this year, especially just this autumn. Since September, you know, I've been drawn to get out certain decks that had been put away. So this is, I love this one, the Raven's Prophecy. There is something about this deck that's so special to me, just because of the colors. Even though this is a completely like all year round, you can use this all year round just because of the coloring. It just especially calls to me in the fall. And I love her guidebook. It's like interesting. It's to the point. It does explain a lot of why she chose certain images. The images are not typical, like Rider, Waite Smith images at all. Like they're very kind of abstract. Like, but you see like the meaning in the image. It's kind of shiny, so it might get some reflection. But like Justice has the scales, the world. I mean, the road, is open with possibility. Like you totally get the idea behind the world in this image. The Hanged Man. It's a raven hanging on upside down. And this is one of the more. They're all interesting portrayals of the energy of the card, but I feel like they're all very well thought out. I really, and gosh, people's names. I'm a really big fan of Maggie Stiefvater. I want to say that's how you pronounce her name. I read her books. I think they're called The Raven Cycle. And I just loved them. I just loved that series. I was obsessed with that for a long time. The High Priestess, which is what finally inspired me to get this deck because of the different images and because of like the coloration, it was a little bit different than what I'm normally attracted to. And it had been out. I had seen a lot of reviews of it. I kind of was like back and forth on whether I wanted to get it. And then I read her books, and that was it for me. I had to anything she's done, I had to have it. So I got the deck, and I'm so glad that I have because I've been called to use this deck over and over again, even though it would just sit there and like today I'm trying to use other decks. I have certain decks that I wanted to really focus on this month of October, and I was called to do my daily draw from this deck. It's there's just something about it. And the images are just like, they portray the idea of the card in a completely different way. So I really love that one. So it's ridiculous how many cards I have sat over here. So I don't think I'll get to use all of these. But I'm gonna try. So this one I use all the time, and it's the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. I still want to find a nice I love this box. I love a lot of these boxes, but I need to find a nice home for this one, and like a special like wooden box or something, because it's one of those decks where, see, even like this just annoys me so much. It's split into two. And so it's so hard to get the cards out every time I want to use them, but I haven't found a better place for them to stay. They have like the purple gilding, although my gilding was damaged when I got it, but I shuffle them. I'm pretty rough when I shuffle them anyway, so although they shuffle pretty well, like they're not super thick, so I don't know. The gilding damage doesn't bother me too much. I like the fact that it's purple. It was mostly intact, so I'm cool with it. But it's the artwork of Jasmine Beckett Griffith, and it has a book written by J.R. Rivera. I'm a big fan of Jasmine Beckett Griffith and her artwork, which is why I purchased this deck. I had seen some reviews that weren't I'd seen some really good reviews and some reviews that weren't so positive, because it was pre-existing artwork that has been kind of borrowed and made into a tarot deck, which I do agree that some of the when you read the book, the odd thing for me is you read the book and some of the descriptions are like so random and out there, and you're like, that is like a really wild, like, run around way to get this card to mean what you want it to mean, and at the same time it's kind of weirdly accurate. So yeah, I love the artwork, and it seems to be very accurate, so I really like it. This is a particularly nice one for Halloween, the One of Wands, and it has keywords on them too, which I kind of like. It's energy and the paranormal, which is, so that is like a, if I'm not mistaken, that's an extra card. I don't think that's a card that's been renamed. Yeah, I think there's an extra card in this deck. The Hierophant. I've never actually pulled that card for my daily draw. At one point I had read more about it in the book, but And the guidebook's nice too. I mean, it has like, full color pages, although the thing, I love the way that they look when they have the color pages, but the shiny paper, sometimes I find it like it's not as nice to write on, and I like to make notes in my books. So it's beautiful, and I also like regular paper. But yeah, it's gorgeous, and the images are gorgeous, and I feel like it's very, the descriptions seem random, but also accurate. I get very accurate readings from this deck, so I use that one a lot, and I'm hoping to use it more as I've just been doing daily draws. I haven't really done a lot of more in-depth readings with that. Let me get my train of thought back. Goodness gracious. Oh, okay. And so here's an oracle deck that I just finished rounding all the corners. It's the Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle by Terry Foss and Sarah Foss Robinson. And they came with the pointy corners, and so I rounded the corners because it wasn't as comfortable to shuffle. And I mean, they're fairly large cards, but the images, I found this on Etsy, and the images are just so like beautiful and haunting, and it just comes with like this little pamphlet for the meanings. But I feel like it's a really good intuitive deck, and that gives you a really good jumping off point for your intuitive reading. And the images are just so gorgeous. And they're just perfect for this time of year. There's like witches in here, and like here's one. It says Goddess is the title of the card, but it has like two little witch angels with black cats. And the moon, oh, there's so many. And the backs of the cards have like this moon. And this edition, I know, this is a fairly popular deck that I've just discovered, and I know that the images on the back used to be, I think, different phases of the moon, which I really would have liked to have been able to purchase that one, because I think that would be amazing. But these are all the same, just these like this image right here, which is still gorgeous, and I love it. But so here's another one, light. Hope. So sometimes, like, I'm kind of going into a period now where I'm not out looking for new decks, because I'm trying to kind of tone it down on the purchasing of decks and just really connect with the ones I have. So I might miss decks that come out because I'm trying not to, because I don't want to feel like compelled to buy them. So I might miss a few, and I think that's what happened with this one. Is I just like missed this one, and then when I found it, I just loved it so much. And I'm really looking forward. The few times I have had an opportunity to use this since I've rounded the corners, I have gotten really good, not reading so much as really good journaling topics, like reading this and reading the little meaning in the little flyer pamphlet thing, and then just really going to town like in a journal entry about what do I think it means and how do I think that applies in my life. And I feel like it gives me a really good jumping off point for getting a really good snapshot of where I am, like on because sometimes when you're in the middle of something, like you don't get a good bird's eye view, you can't see the whole picture, and I think this really helps. I love this one. It's a witch mermaid. I mean, what could be better than that, Oh my gosh, I love this deck. I mean, how gorgeous is that? I mean, and all the images are just so beautiful, and they're just, there's just something about these. It's just like hauntingly beautiful. I love how a lot of them are very like silhouettes, so you don't see the details, and you can kind of just fill that in with your imagination. So if you're feeling, however you're feeling, you can kind of like apply that to the figure, and it's just really beautiful deck. So, oh my gosh, okay, this is getting to be kind of long, so I'm just going to really limit. I'm just going to go over a few more because, this one I'm actually going to mention. It's the New Era New Era Elements Tarot. This one, I just feel like a lot of the images are very triggering, and so I've kind of wanted to do a review, not a review, but like a walkthrough of it, because it's so different, and I don't know, like even showing this to some friends, like I always had the warning, like be careful because some of these images can be kind of triggering because there's a couple, especially like I think the double image, and it's very, well, I'll just show a couple of the cards. Because not all of them, they're gorgeous. Like the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. Like look at that, Son of Water. I love that. And even the little guidebook in here, it still gives like a good amount of information. The adjustment, that one's beautiful. But there's a couple that are just like, I feel like could be triggering for some people. So I'm going to be using this personally for myself. And I'm not going to be using this with other people unless they specifically request it because I feel like, you know, you don't want to not show somebody a card that you pulled for them. At the same time, I just feel like it's not going to be appropriate for everybody. So, oh, there's so many decks here. They all want to be taken out and enjoyed. So, this one I'm really kind of excited about is the Hobbit Tarot. I am Peter Prokownik and Terry Donaldson. I was excited when I saw like this little book, and it's just kind of, you know, like a folded stapled book, but this is a US Games deck. And the whole book is English, because I guess I was expecting, you know, like a Los Scarabeo type book with only part of it in English, so I wasn't expecting to get the entire, like, you know, it's for a little white book, it's pretty good size. And let's see, it's got, you know, some interesting readings, and I haven't read through this yet. It's one of those things where I was like, oh, I want to reread The Hobbit before I really dive into this, but I did not read the book, and so I have not really dived into this deck. But I don't want that to hold me back because I have read the book more than once. It's just been a really long time. So Peter Prokownik was the artist, and Terry Donaldson was the author, and these are the backs of the cards. It's got the ring, and I mean, where am I? What am I doing? I love that. I mean, I just love that. Am I a geek or what? I love it. But, the Fool. Yeah, so I'm really excited about playing some more with this deck. The Magician. Yeah. And just the coloring, you know, it's all kind of these like blues and purples and, you know, like very, you know, fantasy colors, and they do have borders, like white borders, and usually borders don't bother me, and these don't really particularly bother me either, but they're you know, not super not super great, but they don't particularly bother me. But yeah, it's a very, I don't know, it's an interesting concept for a deck, and I know it's kind of like a theme deck, so I don't know, you know, what I'll get out of it, if anything, but some decks really surprise me, so maybe this will be one. And I just feel like Hobbit, you know, I just feel like it's like really fall for me. I get a really fall vibe, so I don't know why. And then of course I have the Tarot of the Spirit by Pamela and Joyce Eakins, and which just has gorgeous imagery, and she has a lot of material in the book that the book that goes with the companion book to this deck. So you have a lot of meaning. And what's interesting is that I found, I mentioned in another video that for a long time I didn't want to read a lot of like the correspondences, and I mean I have, but I didn't want to like really study and focus on some of the more esoteric meanings and correspondences to the tarot, because I felt that that would affect my intuition of what the cards meant, because I had kind of my own meanings in my head from having studied it when I started. And so, and I didn't want anything to conflict with that, I suppose. So I just had like one system in my head. And what I found as I've gotten older, or gained some wisdom, you might say, is I've found that actually knowing those different correspondences and meanings and traditions and the history, you know, of different decks and the tarot in general has actually, it actually improves my intuitive readings, because it gives me like more of a jumping off point sometimes, instead of just looking at the card and kind of just coming up with something from the top of my head. I have like a, and not, it's not like, I don't think that it's like completely made up. I'm not saying that, because I feel like it's very intuitive and I've gotten really good readings that way. And that's why I've continued to do it. But I just feel like learning more about it, and those decks like the Tarot of the Spirit that have a lot of information that goes with it, have been really helping me to take my readings to a whole nother level. So I'm really excited about studying those more and continuing to work with her books that she has. So this is Santa Muerte. Let's see, where's the front of it? Santa Muerte Tarot, Book of the Dead by Fabio Lestrani. Which is so, box is so adorable. These cards are so vivid and, I mean, just very striking in the coloration and the illustrations. And it's a deck that I actually stayed away from for a while, because I wasn't sure if how I would deal with the whole skeletons. Because while I like, you know, some darker stuff, seeing skeletons like dressed up and, you know, kind of confronting that whole thing, an aspect of death, was not something that I wanted to spend a lot of time and focus on. So I wasn't sure about this, but I actually have been reading a book and learning a little bit more about La Santa Muerte. I think it's Tomas Prower as the author. I'd have to double check that. I hope I didn't really mess that up. Please I'd have to double check that to make sure. So don't take my word for that. But it's a really great book, and it's really, I think it's, the more I read about it, the more I think that it's so important for people to really embrace the topic of death, because since it does happen to everybody, it is not something that, like aging, you know, we can't just push it to the side and pretend it doesn't exist, and that doesn't even really help us, like, emotionally or spiritually. So I'm just really, I'm really getting more into this deck and some other darker decks, one of which is on the way. it was supposed to be one of my fall decks, but I do not have it yet. And the Oracle deck, this Santa Muerte Oracle deck, is actually going to be out soon, hopefully, and I have pre-ordered that one as well. So that is a wild one, isn't it? Like a wrestling match there. So yes, just a really gorgeous deck, really well thought out, I think. There's a lot of symbolism there to work with in readings, and it's not necessarily one that I would use for other people unless they had requested it. But when it comes closer, like right now it's closer to Halloween, so I feel like you know, Halloween readings, some people do kind of enjoy this kind of a theme, and so that is a good one for this time of year. And so I am not going to go through more decks, because it is it's taking so long. Oh my goodness. But I will just Moonchild Tarot, I just got in, and I'd like to work with some more. And then I always have this one, Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot, because I just love this one. And then of course the Dame Darcy Queen Alice that I just got. I love that one as well, and I am looking forward to being able to reconnect with the story of Alice in Wonderland. So, and then this is why I say this is ridiculous to think that I'm going to be able to use this many times. But they you know, we'll see what happens. I'll have to do a recap and see what decks I actually used. But I love, so this is more Jasmine Beckett Griffith artwork. This is Oracle of Shadows and Lights. Author of this deck is Lucy Cavendish, and I really enjoyed that guidebook. This is also Lucy Cavendish, and this is one that I've just recently gotten, Alice the Wonderland Oracle, which I kind of am looking forward to using with my new Alice Tarot. And and of course, and then I pulled out a Da Vinci Enigma Tarot. Because of the coloration, I think, of this deck, I get a very kind of fall, and maybe even into winter type, but like the backs of the cards, have this like burgundy, and they're kind of like, sketches. They're not brightly colored, so it puts me in the mood for more like a fall, winter, just from the coloration, not necessarily the topic of it all, just that. And then, oh my goodness, do they ever end? This is why I've got to stop buying so many decks. And the Illuminated Earth Oracle is very earthy, and it's got a lot of good. I did a whole video on this one, so I'm not going to go through those, but by Claire Mack. I'm going to try to use that one more. This is the last one that I'm going to show right now. The Naked Heart Tarot. This one I got, and I was so excited when I got it, and it's just, I have not had the time to really use this one as much as I'd like. So it's by Jillian Wild, and I know this is a pretty popular deck, but I actually and I did not know that much about it, and I actually got a reading from somebody using this deck, and I was so enamored with it that I immediately purchased it, and I haven't had a chance to use it as much as I'd like, which is a theme in my life. I'm like, oh, I'd love to work with that deck. I get it. I don't necessarily have the time to use it, so which is another topic of a different video, which is why I am slowing down on my acquisition of new decks so that I can enjoy the ones that I have. Isn't that amazing? Skyfather. This deck is amazing. I love the way it feels. It's another one of those, it feels good, it looks good, it's got good cardstock, it's got beautiful pictures. Oh my. My, oh my, oh my. So that is, I think, the last deck that I am going to show as far as fall decks. And this was the reason why this video took so long for me to make, is I kept trying to narrow it down, and then I would change my mind, and some would go back and in the shelf, and some would, come out later, and like I even have other decks like sitting here that I didn't even get a chance to talk about, but already I think the video is very long, and I have way too many decks to try to use just in the short amount of time I have for the rest of October and November. I mean, that's not that much time, to spend with these decks. So we'll probably do a recap video at the end of the fall, and just to kind of see what decks that I work with, because I'm just interested to see for myself, like what happens with all of these decks, which ones go back on the shelf for a while, and which ones stay out, and which ones I actually use. So, and which ones people request for readings. I'm interested in that too. So I will talk to you later. I hope you have a great evening. If anybody is still watching this, that is absolutely amazing. But have a great rest of your week, and I will see you again soon. Bye.